Good evening, Cooper.
Yo, what up?
What is going on, everybody? We are in week 15, episode 26. How about that?
That many.
On that note, let's get the show started.
Agility from the champion. Oh, deep six! That could be it. Delivers this deep six.
Good evening, everybody.
Woo!
Cooper, how are you? How you been, man?
Man, we're good. Living the dream right now. Whatever that is in this country.
I hear that, man. I've been crazy busy, running the roads, working,
Amen.
trying to get some golf in.
Trying to and horribly playing. That's two different things, but yeah, I get you there.
Yeah, listen, I am horrible. I'm thinking back 6 weeks ago, I couldn't even get the ball off the ground.
Yeah.
My friend, a good friend of mine, Jay, he showed me a couple things. And then I finally took a lesson from a professional through Groupon, $45. Took a lesson 1 hour.
Nice.
He basically corrected everything. And now I'm driving the ball 200 yards, no problem. 150 yards, 200 yards. There's nothing going that way, nothing going that way. Everything's going straight where you want it to, way up in the air. Just a little tweaks, I can't believe just a couple tweaks. And it's a little bit of a process, between how you hold the club, how you stand, how you position your feet, and how you cross your shoulder over your arm as you're coming down, how you keep your face on the ball. It's like 5 or 6 steps that you got to have constantly. And
Right.
I hit the green 2 times and off the tee on par 3. And there was this one part where I had about another 50, 60, 70 yarder onto the green from the fairway. So you'd be surprised, you take an hour, have somebody show you some stuff, and just go out to the driving range and practice, and you'd be surprised how quick things can change like that.
You know it.
So it's a lot of fun. And listen, as everything that you're looking to do in life, and like a passion, whatever that may be, it's just a matter of practice and working at it, never giving up.
Practice. We ain't even played the first game. Are we talking about practice?
Oh, Dungy. No, Herm Edwards.
Nope. Come on.
Oh, the Indiana Colts manager.
Nope. This was an NBA player. Come on.
Yes, Allen Iverson.
Boom.
Yes, that practice. Okay. Oh, the Indiana Colts manager, the old manager. He was the playoffs.
Jim Mora. Yes.
Yeah. Yep. And then Herm Edwards was infamously known for one of his rants.
Dear God.
Something about to play the game. You played to win the game. Oh man, but Herm Edwards years were pretty good. We just couldn't seal the deal.
Ouch.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, we have a couple things to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Not a terrible Monday Night Raw, in my opinion.
Depends on what you're talking about on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, when I look at it as like an action point of view, as far as the matches have generally been pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I can tell that these the competitors are working hard. I feel like over the past couple weeks, the match endings have been, for the most part, atrocious.
Yeah. It's like they know that there's trash writing going on right now. And it's like they have to make up for it in the ring, because anything on the mic or segments, it's hard to watch right now.
Yeah, another problem I'm seeing, and it's really catching up with them now, especially during the era of COVID, where certain names are not on TV.
Yeah.
Is the lack of star power that's going on right now.
Well, I mean, that's when Vince, they had their conference call a week or two ago, and Vince is all like, "Yeah, we're gonna, we realize now we have to build new talent, but you canned a bunch of people 3-4 months ago now, so you're kind of having to dig through the scraps of everything, and then even some of that talent that you fired, you're stealing their ideas. That's coming to light right now, and they're going to social media saying, thanks for nothing."
Yeah. And you know what? It's really, really kind of biting them in the butt right now.
Hard.
Because come to think of it, I mean, who you? I got to give the girls credit. Sasha and Bailey, they've been doing good.
Mm-hmm.
I got to give them credit.
The shtick is a little annoying, but I get it still. But I mean, this has to come to a head at some point because it's just.
I have a feeling that they're saving their match for when crowds come back in the arena.
We don't know when that's going to be though, because you take a look. Schools are trying to reopen right now, and day one, kids are getting quarantined and they're having to close down again and go virtual. So you can't have a live audience of 10,000 people.
No, you definitely cannot.
Yeah.
You definitely can. I mean, listen, it's coming to the point where now Royal Rumble's in jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
Mania is definitely in jeopardy. So Mania tickets won't go on sale until January if they proceed with having people in the stadium.
Exactly, because they normally go on sale at the beginning of November.
Yep.
So, and California doesn't know when they're going to lift their restriction on the size of gatherings. So the whole California thing is in jeopardy too, along with WrestleMania in general. And if Florida shuts down again, like the talk is, they're having to go up to Connecticut as a fallback plan. So there's so many moving parts over the next couple of months. We just don't know anything solid.
Yeah, this is true. So I feel like some storylines, and not just in WWE, but with some storylines, they're kind of holding back a little bit to save certain angles from when for when they can actually go live in front of people.
Yeah, I've noticed, especially on the SmackDown side of things, Braun Strowman, ever since that swamp match at Extreme Rules, the horror show, he has been quiet everywhere. Like even his Instagram page, it has his real name on there, and even in his bio, it says this is his, real life and doesn't depict or portray his character on television. He hasn't done anything on there since that match.
Supposedly he's missing.
Yeah, and even still, it's leaking over to a personal page like that.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll post some, every now and again, just post some pictures like when he won the title, and whether it's the Intercontinental title, tag title, just anything like that. He'll post those pictures, but most everything is his real life stuff, out playing with cars, shooting guns, his sponsorship with Redcon, and his Mega Fit meals and his Meat Castle clothing line that he has.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Do what?
I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah. He's the Beef King, and yeah, it's Meat Castle. But yeah, ever since that match, it's been dead silence, and it's weird to see his personal page get roped into that. So I don't know what they're trying to do. I know Bray, talking about the title and everything, but that thing with Alexa now. So I don't know what they're doing at this point, especially SmackDown.
What was Alexa's character again in that swamp match? Was she
that was everybody saying that's Sister Abigail.
Well, was she like portrayed as a Sister Abigail? I kind of like drawing a blank at the moment. I know she was in there.
Well, I think that was the consensus, and even WWE made some post about it on one of their social media pages, after the match, and said, "Sister Abigail, is that you?" And it was a picture of Alexa in that, or something weird. But yeah, they made the reference to her being Sister Abigail.
Yeah, so supposedly, according to the storylines at the moment, Braun Strowman's missing. I haven't watched SmackDown in weeks. I mean, I should probably start considering we have SummerSlam coming up shortly.
I've caught the bits and pieces because I mean, there the whole AJ Styles thing, and his match with Daniel Bryan, and there've been a couple of good matches on there, and I'm kind of intrigued by Kofi being injured and taking some time off, and Woods still being out, and now Big E's going to get the singles push. I really want to know where that's going to go because you remember years ago he got his push in NXT and got the NXT title. So do they have the guts to pull the trigger on him on the main roster finally? Because he's always been a lackey with somebody, whether it's Dolph, he's been with the New Day for a long time now. It's just, would they do it?
I mean, I think they would at this point. I think Big E's got the gift for gab.
Yeah.
He's got charisma. He's got the size. He can work.
He's got the speed.
Yeah, we've seen him do some work with the Intercontinental title match, I believe, in 2014. Somewhere around the time of the middle of the year. I think he had a little short one with the IC title while Wade Barrett was still there. I think the two of them had a match together, if I'm not mistaken, in Jersey. It is basically Big E's been with fixed in with Xavier and Kofi Kingston since the very beginning, 2015. It's going on 5 years now.
Yep. 5 years and 8 title reigns later. And that was kind of Kofi's putting him over thing was, you've been with us the whole time. You always put the crew first. You backed me when I was going for the WWE title and didn't bat an eye. You've got our blessing. It's your turn, dude. Yeah.
And now Xavier, I mean, I wonder what Xavier's role. I mean, his Achilles injury, typical recovery time for Achilles injury is 9 months to a year. I mean, I know
I say, Wayne, will you speak
at the
to
tail
that?
end? Yeah. But so I feel like Xavier is really close to coming back. I would say by fall, probably.
He should.
Even if he's just outside for a mouthpiece for a while,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, even if he were to accompany Big E and things like that, yeah, I mean, definitely that's worth keeping an eye on and hoping they still keep the singles push instead of saying, we got one of them back. Let's go back to the old school.
Yeah. So we had a couple things going on Monday Night Raw.
Mm-hmm.
We noticed WWE is trying some new things, which we'll get to just a little short while. MVP versus Apollo. We get a U.S. title match. MVP's putting, his title up on the line as well as Apollo. Nice little match here. Nothing too crazy. We see Apollo defeat MVP for the rights to be the U.S. champion.
It's a nice little way to kick off the show. Decent match. Apollo's coming into his own, and that was a nice little put over MVP did for him, especially overcoming the Hurt Business and everybody out there.
Yeah. MVP was livid about his loss, and immediately after the match, he gets his rematch. He wants his rematch. He's getting at SummerSlam. Got the SummerSlam banner up.
You got to do the point and the look. Mark. But no, that's MVP's not even the Hurt Business included with that. He's kind of found his own gear and his own speed. I kind of like where he's at right now. He was a little annoying way back in the day, with the wearing the breathe right strip and everything he did. Now it's a formal balling. Now he's a formal businessman with a kind of a heel side to him. I kind of like the shtick he's got going on here. Bobby and Shelton Benjamin put aside, I kind of like what he's doing with it. But you put him with the Hurt Business and how he's leading it. I know we'll get into something else a little later on, but the segue into that with the end of the show with them, I kind of dug it.
Yeah, MVP is doing some of his best work right now. He's great on the mic.
Oh God, yeah.
What a mouthpiece he is, and
Mhm.
he's turning into for sure.
Even
MVP is doing some good work.
even at his age, he's still moving decently in the ring. He's not stiff.
If you use MVP the right way, once in a while,
Yeah.
I don't think he's at the point where he should be wrestling every single week.
Nah.
If you have him on a part-time basis and he can still work some matches like that, I'm down.
Oh yeah.
Only MVP knows how far he can really go.
True.
The guy's 46 years old.
So yeah, when you're in your mid 40s like that, you just gotta time it just right. Obviously, you take someone like Shawn Michaels or Taker when they realize that where they're breaking down, someone who like MVP who didn't do all the crazy stuff way back in the day. He's still limber. He still has knees that are working. So it's just little things like that. He's still raring to go.
Yeah. Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan seemingly reunited.
Little teaser there.
Possible future tag team contenders, maybe.
It would be a slow build. Obviously, Liv has been a work in progress for a long time, but we've seen what Ruby's done. It's just they really don't know what to do with Ruby right now because you had her do a couple matches with Bianca. It's that just got pushed to the side completely. It's like that doesn't exist anymore. They tease a little something there, but now I think they kind of decided to go back to the old school well there and draw just up and see how it's going to work. Another experiment, see if they like it.
Yeah, listen, WWE Women's Division for the tag teams, they need more tag teams.
Oh, absolutely.
So I mean, this is easily something. The story kind of writes itself. They can get back together, and then make a run at the tag titles. But they defeated the Iconics last week on Raw. And for a while, the Iconics were for about a good 5-6 weeks or so, they were picking up some wins right around the time of Extreme Rules and shortly thereafter.
Mm-hmm.
So they take the loss here.
Yeah, it kind of hurts him a little bit. I think it's a dive for a newly reunited team that hasn't been around in ages. So it's just kind of the feeler for them to see what's going to happen.
So throughout Raw, we'll touch a little bit more on it later, but throughout Raw, we get Shane McMahon promoting some kind of behind the scenes Raw Underground. We don't know what it is. Earlier in the day, it was teased that a new faction was going to show up, and moments before that, there was an announcement that Shane McMahon was going to be on Raw. So they advertised this to the fans, thinking that a new faction is going to show up. People probably even thought maybe Undisputed Era would show up. But apparently, what they did on Monday Night Raw drove the numbers a little bit in the positive direction for them. Yeah. Better ratings than last week. We'll talk about all that a little bit later. We don't have a whole lot to talk about this week, but moving on, we had Tozawa defeating R-Truth and Shelton Benjamin to take that belt off of Shelton Benjamin. Tozawa is the new 24/7 champion with the help of some interference of the Ninjas distracting Lashley and MVP on the outside. Tozawa is the new champion. You would think that now that Tozawa has got that 24/7 belt, his Ninjas are going to be the one that helps him hold the belt for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Some fun entertainment. Not too crazy.
The whole ninja thing is kind of annoying right now. I don't know. Seems kind of racist, actually, and kind of the worst time to do something like this. Just a random thought there. But I don't know. It's just Tozawa just screaming, and then you see these ninjas come out of nowhere. Like the freaking Yakuza is invading Raw now. Yeah. I mean, I really don't know how to take it. He goes from wearing this super bright gear and shorts, and now he's in a freaking, I don't know the official term for a ninja's gi or whatever, But yeah, I mean, Ninja outfit every week, like he's part of the Shredder's Foot Clan.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just it.
that's pretty
just-
much what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it took a weird turn there. So I don't know. It's just the first that brawl between Street Profits and Viking Raiders when they first came out, I was like, what in God's name is this? And it still hasn't. It's spaghetti that got thrown on the wall, and it's still not stuck for me.
Mm. Yeah, it should be interesting to see. I mean, basically, from what I see right now, Tozawa and the Ninjas, along with R-Truth, are the comedy act of WWE right now.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders, they kind of gave that to them for a while, especially after the Revival left, because they were going to be the punching bags. And it's almost like WWE feels like they have to have the comedy troupe somewhere. So it's like these three it's like a three-way of Tom and Jerry right now. You know, or Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner, who's gonna get the leg up and pull the next gag and get the champ, or there's a championship on the line for this actually.
Mm-hmm. Moving on, Dominic Mysterio challenges Seth Rollins at SummerSlam.
This is the best storyline going right now.
You think so?
I think this has my buy-in more than Drew and Randy right now.
Okay.
We'll touch on that. I still like that, but this is getting nitty gritty right now. So I mean, everything, you know, with Alistair last week or week before last, you know, Buddy get involved with it. Dominic just snapping, and you know he's coming into his own and everything. It's getting personal for him. You know, Seth he doesn't want to hurt Dominic. You know, he's still kind of playing that up. It's like he doesn't want to do that to him. But Dominic finally pushed the right buttons, and Seth finally said, "You want me? You got me." And Seth just absolutely snapped on him on the mic when he finally accepted the challenge. It was I mean,
Dominic looks like he can work.
yeah. I mean, he pops that 619 off. I mean, I know he's a foot taller than his dad, basically.
Yeah.
But I mean, when he runs the ropes and pops a 619 on Seth like that, dude, he did a pretty good job with it. And then
see, you know what? It's a little sketchy for me, and I'll tell you why. Seth Rollins is a grown man, probably about 34, maybe, give or take a year. Yeah. Dominic is 19, 20 years old. How am I to believe and buy into the fact that Dominic can beat Seth Rollins?
I think the lead up that's done it, you know, with Dominic and just being a loose cannon, you know, I know he's had a kendo stick and just waylaid on both Seth and Murphy the last couple of weeks. And he's taken a couple lickings too. You know, let's not deny that. But I think they're going to play that heart card. You know, how Ray's done that through his entire career because he was the short guy. I think they're going to play that up 100%, how this is personal for him. And, you know, it's the thought of his father, everything that's happened to him, almost losing his eye and everything Seth's done to him. You know, I can hear Byron Saxton on the microphone right there, just building him up. Come on, Dominic, you got this. You know, how super facey Byron is. I think that's going to play into the match a little bit.
So as this whole segment progresses, we see Seth Rollins picking an argument with Tom Phillips.
Ooh.
Samoa Joe steps in, and as Joe is trying to get in the ring because Seth Rollins and Murphy has chairs, at this point, Joe's ready to throw down. Seth and Murphy are in the ring, challenging Joe to get in. Dominic attacks Seth and Murphy from behind with the kendo stick, as you had mentioned a couple moments ago. And Seth then accepts Dominic's challenge at SummerSlam. I thought we were going to get Samoa Joe here. I thought he was going to do something.
That was going to be my first point before we moved on. But yeah, so Joe gets up from the table, takes the jacket off. It goes to a freaking commercial break. And you come back to shirts off and chairs in the ring. That's something I really wanted to see live happen for a good build up, not something hokey like that.
Let me ask you something. Do you think that Samoa Joe comes back in the ring? Like, what do you think his deal is? You think he's semi-retired?
I really don't know what to
taking
call
a
it.
break. I
He's-
feel like WWE can really use him right now on the Raw
know.
brand.
He's had so many little injuries that just added up. So his nose gets broken and he's got to have surgery on his face so he can actually breathe and work in the ring. He's got a busted foot and a busted ankle. He tweaked a knee at some point, I think it was as well. So it's just little things that have added up. And I think he'll be back at some point, but I think he wants to make sure it's 100% this time.
I mean, listen, WWE had a window, and I guess maybe WWE made a right call not to pull the trigger on him because he got hurt a couple times thereafter. But WWE did have a window at Great Balls of Fire for Joe to take that title off of Brock Lesnar.
I know. I actually thought
That was their window.
I thought about that god awful pay-per-view today, actually, for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, that
A lot of people made fun of that name, and not to mention the logo that went with it. But I digress.
you mean flaming balls?
Yeah.
That's WWE for you.
So, just a quick pause for those of you that are watching or about to watch. Thank you so much. If you feel like leaving comments, you sure may. We'll try to address them. This is, yes, he's got the Deep Six shirt on. I'll probably change into that for the AEW review show that we're going to do shortly after this show. This is show number 1 of a doubleheader tonight. We're just trying something new. And, Mondays have been a little crazy to do a show lately at a late hour of the night. So we're just trying things to see what sticks. So hence why we're doing a nice little doubleheader tonight for you guys. So I hope you guys are enjoying. We only have like two or three more things to talk about. Sasha Banks versus Shayna Baszler. I was excited for this. This is pay-per-view quality match.
Yeah. It's the way they're building this Raw Women's title up. They're going a whole completely different direction that, we talked about long ago. So, we talked about how obviously Sasha was going to win the Raw Women's Championship. The thought process was, something's going to happen, like losing the tag team titles. That would create dissension and for Bayley to turn on Sasha. Now, granted, we don't have a crowd. It was going to be in Boston. That would have been the ultimate, match right there. Yep. Sasha is the face in her hometown. Plans changed. The world's changed in the last 6 months. So, I mean, the writing's a little different, but they finally found the right window to bring Shayna back. Nia Jax is suspended right now. I haven't been able, unless you know something I don't. I know it's storyline, but I don't know if it's something, going on outside of the ring. Kind of hope she's out of the title picture for a while personally. But this three-way that they have going on between Asuka, Shayna, and Sasha, that could be a knockdown, drag out brawl in a ring, and I'm here for it.
Well, I'm happy to see Shayna back. They never really, they kind of did the storytelling, with Shayna, how even Shayna says herself she's been overlooked, yada yada yada. So they explained that. She never really got into why she decided to take time off from Mania. Obviously, we know why. WWE didn't have anything for her, but storyline wise,
yeah.
So we see her come back out of nowhere a couple weeks ago, and it was great to see her. It's fresh. The women's division, I feel, on the WWE side, is kind of on the rise right now.
Yeah, and after the burial at Mania in a 7-minute match with Becky, that she needed some time to recover from that. Kind of wipe the slate clean from that BS match. That easily could have been a 20-25-minute match if they did it right. But to squash her that quickly, yeah, she needed to step away for a while and let that just kind of fall off the record.
Yeah. And listen, I think Shayna gets that win back from Becky, sometime next year.
Yeah, I think once Becky gets back, she gets back from maternity leave and everything. I can see you depending on where the storyline is. If Becky gave the belt up, what April was it? No, when was Money in the Bank?
April.
May. Money in the Bank was
May. You're right. Yeah.
So she gave it up in May. She was already pregnant. She'll give birth by January.
Yeah, I think her due date's around December, November, December. Yeah, it's
So,
a holiday for sure.
So, man, you think 12 weeks after that? I mean, that's pretty close to Mania. I mean,
it's a little tricky. I always said Mania could be a stretch. SummerSlam seems realistic for next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's considering the circumstances and everything, Mania next year could work. It just that's her call. If she feels like she wants to get back in the ring that quickly, if her maternal instincts kick in and she feels like she'd rather be at home for a little bit, that's her call.
So yeah, so the Sasha versus Shayna Baszler match, I was enjoying it. Shayna was getting her shots in. Shayna was definitely selling for Sasha, making her look good at some points in the match.
Yeah, she took some kicks right to the freaking skull and
dropped
like a bag of sand.
Match gets thrown out because Asuka attacks Bayley. So Bayley's not even involved in the match. Bayley's on the outside of the ring. Asuka attacks Bayley. I don't get that. Listen, you know what? Would have made more sense if Bayley ran in the ring and then Asuka ran in the ring too, and they broke up the match. Then I could see throwing out the match, but Bayley wasn't even in the ring. She wasn't doing anything. She was on the outside by the ramp, minding her own business. Asuka attacks her. Both those ladies aren't even in a match. Yeah, it disqualifies. It calls the match for Sasha and Shayna Baszler, which that ending. See, WWE getting in its own way with the storytelling, with the way they've been booking these endings lately. That did not make any sense.
That's the equivalent, so last week or week before last in the women's title match, when Bayley was attacking Kyrie, shouldn't have Asuka won that then? I mean, it's kind of the same lines. It's ridiculous.
As we start bringing this plane in for landing on this first part of the show, we see Drew McIntyre. We have Drew McIntyre is in the program, with Randy Orton now. We knew he wasn't losing the belt to Dolph Ziggler. Absolutely. A couple cool things with Dolph and Ziggler, Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre, the way they ended their match at Extreme Rules. The Claymore and everything, how that was set up. Good, but we knew that Dolph wasn't winning, which kind of took a little interest away for some people, I would imagine. Yeah. So we knew. Now it was rumored for weeks that Randy Orton was going to be the next challenger. And it's even rumored that he could be the one winning the title at SummerSlam, which I feel, in my opinion, is a little too soon. I would hold it off till Survivor Series.
Yeah, it's like they're playing the long con right now with him and Edge.
Yeah, I'm hearing Randy Edge Royal Rumble, or at least that's what I've heard in the past. And then somehow getting the belt back to Drew McIntyre WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, I've been hearing
they want to give him. They want to give him the win. They want to give Drew the win in front of a crowd.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I've been hearing Edge in front of the Rumble and winning that from Randy. But there's another moving part that's going to be happening probably within the next couple of months too.
Oh, we've also heard that there is the draft.
That was supposed to be this month, but COVID kind of botched that too. So it's going to be somewhere either September or October now.
That's the thing. That's the thing to hit on. WWE has competition now. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily threatening, but has competition now. You have
AEW numbers.
Yeah, well, AEW is winning the Wednesday nights, but AEW has really got to start beating Raw and SmackDown ratings to really be considered competition.
Yeah, because they're starting to get some of those demographics.
Yeah,
now that are huge, and I sent that screenshot to you, Jay, and everybody about how AEW did a better rating. I forgot what the demographic was exactly. It beat NXT, Raw, and SmackDown that week. So they're starting to get a little bit of traction right now.
Yeah. So does WWE really need to do a draft? So here's the thing. In my opinion, you got the tag team division that's hurting. The women's division is kind of okay on both sides. But the tag team division is hurting right now. You have two different tag team divisions, each with 3 tag teams. So right then and there, you gotta do away with the brand split. I think it's gonna be a little bit easier booking wise, and it makes more sense to have 6 tag teams going for 1 tag team belt instead of 3 tag teams, and call that a division on one show and then on the other. I'm not a fan of that. So I think the WWE tag team division is kind of hurting. They're good tag teams, but they're hurting on both sides.
And that's the issue is this draft, what would have been less than a year after the move to Fox, whenever things started hitting the fan, that's a knee-jerk reaction from WWE, realizing that, yeah, something needs to be done, but the way it's getting done is not the right way. So
and you see the SmackDown, the main event scene is hurting on SmackDown.
Bad. Like
very bad.
Your Universal Champion is missing. Your top heel, in Bray right now.
You got Otis as the briefcase holder.
You got Otis holding a briefcase and, still in his love angle with Mandy, who's still fighting with Sonya. Your tag team division's in disarray with Miz and Morrison. The New Day's not around right now. It's just a nightmare.
They listen when they started this whole drafting stuff and brand split. It was to give the fans the perception that there is a sense of competition. There was no WCW around. There was no other wrestling on TV. Now, listen, with the internet boom, back in 2003, there wasn't anything called streaming. You couldn't watch stuff online. YouTube didn't even exist. It's a different world now. There's competition. You got AEW, which is up and coming, doing better as the weeks progress. You got Impact is actually I watched the show 2 weeks ago. It's halfway decent. So you have them out there lingering on, free TV to stream if you want to. And what else am I missing? New Japan.
I think Impact, because of the stigma that was with TNA and how poorly TNA was run for a while.
Yeah.
I think if Impact could get a fresh start, I know they've tried to re-kickstart themselves, but Dixie and that crew kind of left a bad taste in everyone's mouth of how, poorly managed the talent was and everything. And New Japan's still out there. They got a lot of great talent, but, I know with the exodus of Bullet Club, most of them, I know that took a lot of the star power with them, but they still got a lot of heavy hitters over there.
Yeah. You got Jay White.
Yep. Him, Okada, Naito. You had the betrayal of all betrayals, from LIJ to Bullet Club. I mean, that's for anybody that watches wrestling religiously like we do, that is an absolutely huge turn. So I mean, it's things like that are going on that a lot of people don't realize.
And listen, AEW and New Japan behind the scenes, may especially when the international travel ban's lifted, or what have you. But they may be on a working agreement to have some guys come over to the US on AEW shows.
Oh yeah, I think Jericho has part of his contract is. I think, obviously going to work overseas, I believe it was earlier this year he went, he's got a clause that he can go over there and, work some matches. It's kind of a intermingling, if you will.
So what do you think of the Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton feud?
Oh, so back to that. they're digging deep with it. So they're trying to make sure it cuts deep. I like the jabs they're taking at each other. You know, how Randy should have been fired. You know, Drew recognizes he was and why he was. But you know, Randy should have been there, but he's got that silver spoon kind of stuck in his mouth. And Randy's like, yeah, pretty much I do. You know, tough, deal with it. You know, and how, you know, Randy doesn't care about anyone but himself. He never helped anyone out. You know, kind of bring the people up. He always wanted the spotlight for himself. So they're digging deep on this one. I kind of like it. It's going to be a good physical match. That's the key point behind all of this. So we're going to get a good, entertaining match. It's not just going to be, you know, a flop like Dolph Ziggler or anyone else he's wrestled since WrestleMania.
This is basically the first legit match that we're seeing with Drew McIntyre.
This is the first time where we have actual concern that he could drop the title.
Yeah. And it very well could happen in Cooper, like we alluded to, a couple moments ago. You know, it could be very well of a setup happening where Drew gets drafted into SmackDown, and because that main event scene needs help over there. But you know, both sides are hurting. You know, it doesn't help that there's no Roman Reigns. I mean, like, love him or hate him, he's still a draw. People do like him. Yeah. People will watch him. He's WWE now. What's that?
He's a hero now.
Why you say that?
For the cancer survivor.
Okay.
So I mean that's a huge thing and sticking point for people.
Oh, absolutely. The WWE will always try to use that. You know, to kind of get people behind them.
Yeah,
I'm sure Roman doesn't mind that either.
Oh yeah, and I mean, especially SummerSlam's here in a couple weeks. Drew drops the title, and the draft happens. You know, 4 to 6 weeks after that. That's the prime time to move Drew over, and you know, if Edge's timeline is still what it's supposed to be, you've got that side of the main event set for WrestleMania. Now Drew is going to be shooting for his.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see what contender he gets.
Yep.
Probably the Fiend. That'd be interesting.
I mean, if Goldberg could beat the Fiend, Drew McIntyre can sell that.
Yeah, true. This is true. One last thing, the Raw Underground. We basically saw a fight club, a blood sport type of fighting going on backstage that Shane McMahon introduced to the night, and then we see the Hurt Business get involved.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, the only thing I liked about that was the Hurt Business getting involved, because that was MVP kind of fuming with the boys and everything. And then Charlie kind of brings it up. He's like, a fight or Underground? And he's like, he's hearing about fighting and everything. All right, boys, let's go handle some business. So, I mean, they go down there and kind of clean house on everybody. So, I mean, that's right up the Hurt Business alley. But before that, you know, Shane's trying to act like these guys that are getting in the ring, you know, these are young up and coming talents, people that we really haven't heard of. The only name that I really heard of, Eric from the Viking Raiders, was in there. That's kind of the only known name. And I mean,
yeah, and Dolph Ziggler was thrown down in there.
Now he came in after that. I forgot about that. Right before the Hurt Business got in.
And then seems like they kind of sort of introduced a new guy who was kind of cleaning house for a little while.
What was his name? Gar or something?
I'm not too sure. He was a big dude. And you know what? Shane was billing him to be 7 foot tall. I doubt he was 7 foot tall. No. He looked maybe like 6'5", between 6'5" and 6'7".
Oh yeah. That's WWE for you. They'll change anybody's height to make him sound good.
Hey, listen, it was something new. I don't think it's gonna last very long, but it was something new. Intrigue. WWE kind of, you know, gave us something different than what they were promoting earlier in the day. That's for sure.
I know. And the issue,
it was almost like a bait and switch, almost.
It is, but I mean, those two things go back to the whole stealing stuff. So I mean, as you said a second ago, the blood sport, that idea has already been stolen. So Raw Underground is a stolen idea. This Retribution faction some of the stuff that they're doing, those ideas have been stolen already. You know, changing the narrative, I believe, is the verbiage that's been used about maybe the Hurt Business. I think that's a stolen idea. So I mean, they're kind of picking off these people that they fired previously who had, you know, or had been working with these ideas, and WWE's just kind of pulled the rug out from under them and tried to make them their own. So I mean, it's setting themselves up for failure. And honestly, I don't see this Raw Underground lasting more than maybe a month, maybe 4 episodes at most. And especially with Shane in there, it's like everybody's making fun of him, saying this is him living out his midlife crisis right now.
A lot of people like to fault WWE for not trying new things.
Oh, yeah.
And even though it may have been bad or okay, WWE's tried new things throughout the year this year.
Yeah, but I mean, these really aren't new ideas. It's just they're trying to put their
It's
own
just new
spin
on WWE programming, that's all.
right. And it's just you just don't know how it's going to respond. And this one kind of bit them square in the keister. It's awful.
Bobby Lashley shined through this.
He did, you know, it you know, showing off his athletic prowess, and even Shelton Benjamin, you know, he looked pretty stout out there. You know, MVP was just kind of the ringleader, so he didn't do much, but he got a couple shots in. But that's about it.
Hey, listen, you know, this kind of reminds me of what's that boxing tournament they did back in
Brawl
'98?
for all, dear
Yeah.
God.
So this
That
will probably
abomination.
last. This will probably last about as long as Brawl for All.
You knew Brawl for All was an absolutely terrible idea. Bart Gunn got blacked out by Butterbean in a moment's notice for winning that tournament. That's a heck of a prize to take home. So I mean, it's just they should have known that.
You didn't ever see Bart Gunn after that.
God no. Yeah, that was
the end of his career.
That was one of the biggest burials ever.
If you guys haven't seen it yet, you guys should check out Dark Side of the Ring, the Brawl for All episode. I think the Brawl for All was on the Dark Side of the Ring, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
I can't remember.
There's a whole documentary on that. Listen, let me see if I can look it up right now. There was a whole documentary behind the Brawl for All with Bart Gunn talking about his loss and how WWE had nothing for him after that, because he was shining like the stars up until he met Butterbean, and then Butterbean knocked him out, made him look like a fool.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'm gonna Google this right now. Let's see. Dark Side of the Ring, Bart Gunn. Let's see if it was. Yes, it was. So that is an episode that does exist. So I found that was a pretty interesting episode. But yeah, this fighting Raw Underground stuff, I don't think will last very long. Listen, it was a little intrigue. You know, I was just watching some of these guys, just being into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu myself. You know, I was curious to see what this was about. Listen, it is what it is. It's new, and like I said, I don't think it's gonna last very long, in my opinion. But that was throughout the whole show. That was being advertised and built up and shown at the 10 o'clock hour of the show. We'll probably get a little bit more of that next week. But we are, if I'm not mistaken, where are we? The 6th now. The 10th will be on, the 9th will be on Sunday. So that leaves us 2 weeks away from SummerSlam weekend.
Yep. Yeah,
going into SummerSlam, we only have 2 big matches.
Yeah. I think the card's going to fill out pretty good this next week. So, I mean, it's going to be worth watching. Hopefully they don't make it a complete stinker to need to watch it.
Because as of now, you got Drew and Randy as your title match. You're most likely going to have Braun Strowman with the Fiend. You're going to have the Raw title defended for sure. I would imagine Bayley's going to defend her title as well. I'm not sure what the contender is over there. If you know, and then not to mention this NXT takeover going on that weekend as well. NXT 30, I believe they're calling it.
Yep.
But yeah, there's only 3 or 4 major things going on from what I've seen building up to SummerSlam. But it's 2 more weeks. You would think that they can easily build up another 3-4 more matches.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need. I got. Listen, I got to watch SmackDown. I don't even know what's going on with the IC title. You know, you're gonna. Oh, and not to mention you got Apollo MVP.
Yep.
That's gonna happen this SummerSlam as well.
And Ray
So
Dominic
it's taking. Yeah. So
You
it's
know,
taking some
Dominic,
shape. It's taking shape. Yeah. And I'm interested to see how Dominic's gonna work. He's just such a baby face. He's young. It's kind of like unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, Dominic's been training for quite some time now.
He's not
but,
had
yeah.
a singles match yet. I mean,
He has
that's-
not had a singles match in on the WWE banner. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
Seth Rollins is cutting those teeth for him.
Yeah. Well, that wraps up part 1, show number 1 of tonight's doubleheader. We will be back on very shortly in just a little while to talk some AEW in a matter of minutes, actually. Talk about AEW post show. For those of you that are watching, thank you so much. Make sure you send this to your wrestling fan buddies. I am talking to the couple people that are watching right now. Make sure you send this to your wrestling buddies. Have them subscribe to the Deep Six Pro Wrestling Podcast. We're also available on Google Play, Spotify, and iTunes if you are unable to watch a show in a given week. And Justin is pointing down to that information right now. And we could also be followed on through backsportspage.com, where you could also find our videos as well. But Justin, thank you so much for hopping on for the Raw part of our show.
You know it.
And to those of you that are watching or listening, we will catch you up with more WWE stuff next week. But in just a few minutes, we will be back on with some AEW talk. We'll catch you guys in a little bit.
Boom.